What's good, everybody? Hope you all had a great week, and hopefully you're enjoying your summer vacation, even though I know it's different with everything that's going on, but try to make the best of it, man. Even though it's hot, let's make the best of it and enjoy it. Today we're going to be talking about iron sharpens iron. We'll be in the book of Proverbs. And again, iron sharpens iron. Some of you have heard that phrase, some of you haven't. If you haven't, you're gonna learn a little bit more about it today. But I love knives. I actually collect knives. I think some of you already know that. But there's nothing better than a sharp knife. I do not like dull knives. They're worthless, especially when you need to cut something. It's like, oh, it's so frustrating. But when we look at a dull knife, not only are dull knives a pain to deal with and they suck, let's be honest with each other, but the dull knife is more dangerous than a sharp knife. And the reason is, with a dull knife, you have to put a lot of pressure because you're trying to cut. And if you're not careful, whatever you're cutting, you can slip, it can break, and you can slice through your leg, through your finger. And the problem with the dull knife being more dangerous is that with a dull knife, they're rusty. They carry bacteria on it because it's not really super sharp. And with that brings on infection. And in a lot of cases, a lot of people get major infections. So yeah, so sharp knives good, dull knives bad, all right? Make sure we use it for the right reason, okay? But I love knives that just slice through anything like butter, like a laser. It's amazing. But again, we're gonna be in the book of Proverbs, chapter 27, verse 17, so I'm gonna read this real quick. So here in Proverbs, it tells us, as iron sharpens iron, so a man sharpens the countenance of his friend, okay? Now, a sword and knife made of iron is sharpened by it. That's why if you've watched the Food Network, I love food, so I love watching those cooking shows and the Food Network, just watching all that stuff out. Their food is so beautiful, man. But you'll look at these chefs and they'll be like Chef Ramsay on Hell's Kitchen. He'll be using these two knives because they sharpen each other and they're able to cut precise. You'll see butchers do the same thing, because these are made out of iron. So this is a great verse to go by and a great analogy mentally for us to see. Now, when we look at the word countenance means this: a person's expression that indicates their mood, indicates their emotions, their behaviors. It says a lot about their character too. But the countenance is also moral support, to be there for each other. So it's a mixture of everything. And with my background in counseling, when I'm talking to somebody, the first thing I look at is their body language, their facial language, because that says a lot. That reveals a lot. It gives red flags, indicates where to go question-wise to help these individuals. You can also see when someone's uncomfortable. You can also tell when they're lying by the way their body moves. So countenance has a lot to do with that. Now, as friends, we sharpen each other's minds. We encourage one another. We motivate one another to be better in life. And as Christian friends, we do the same thing, but we also stir up each other's hearts, mind, and souls to grow closer to God, to grow closer in His Word, to exercise and use the gifts, talents, and capabilities that God has given us to love others, to serve others, and most importantly, to love God and serve God. That's what we're to do as Christian friends also. Now, it's important to understand that not every friend is a good counselor. So you be wise in who you choose to have in your circle. Be wise in who you choose to go to when you want accountability, when you're seeking questions, you're seeking counsel. Very important. Now, we also shouldn't go running around from friend to friend looking for answers or for advice. Because when we do this is usually an indicator that we're trying to find someone that's going to tell us what we want to hear, and we don't want that. We want to have friends in our life that are going to speak truth to us in love. And what I mean by speak truth to us in love, they're going to tell us what we need to hear, but they're going to do it in a way that's not going to be judgmental, that's not going to make us feel horrible, crush our lives, but it's going to challenge us, but out of love. So we want to have friends that are going to tell us what we need to hear. Sometimes we don't want to do that, but for us to grow and be better people, not just better friends, but in our walk with God and grow closer to God, we need people in our corner that are willing to fight for us because they love us, and they're willing to take that chance to address us and tell us things that we don't want to hear. But that's how we grow in life, my friends. That's how we grow. Now, smart people are known by the questions they ask, okay? Because if you're seeking knowledge, you read. You're seeking knowledge, you ask questions because you want answers. You want to grow and learn. If you look at Christ, at the age of 12, he was found in the temple asking questions about the law. So even Christ was doing that. So we grow a lot, we learn a lot by asking questions. So this is leading into what today's devotion is about. I'm going to give you 5 questions that real friends should be asking each other. Okay, these are questions you should be asking each other today, tomorrow, whenever you see each other, talk to each other. Okay, here's number 1. Question number 1 goes like this. How can I be a better friend to you? How can I be a better friend to you? In other words, take the time to ask a friend, man, have I done anything to hurt you? Have I done anything to offend you? Am I doing things or bringing things to the table that are separating you from God, that are pushing you away from the person God has called you to be or the person you want to be? So it's important to be intentional with our friends, to be sensitive to one another. And I don't mean, by sensitivity, I don't mean let's like lay in the corner in a fetus position and start crying and be like all emo and stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just being sensitive to each other's needs, respect one another, have boundaries too, man, but respectful boundaries because we care about each other. Number 2, are there any behaviors? Are there any patterns? Are there any attitudes or actions that you see in my life that are hindering my success of growing in my education, in the direction I want to go? Are they hindering my relationship with God? So in other words, be accountable to one another. Accountability is so important. Accountability is that main key ingredient. Being accountable to each other, to God. Those are the ingredients when it comes to sharpening each other, sharpen our minds, hearts, and souls. So let's be accountable to each other. Number 3, what gifts and characteristics do you see as strengths in my life? So in other words, we want to encourage our friends. We want to encourage each other to grow in the gifts and capabilities and talents that God has given us, to not only use it for His glory, but to grow, just not to let them to sit down by the wayside and grow stale, but to actually thrive. So encourage one another. And I know that question may sound weird, but it's a question that we need to hear. We want to be encouraged by people. We want to hear it from our friends. And again, people are going to tell us the truth. But encourage one another, push each other to grow and become better and become the people that God has called us to be. Number 4, how can I pray for you? Is there anything that I could pray for you, man? Do you need prayer today, bro? Do you need prayer today, sister? And again, prayer is important. There's power in prayer, but be there for each other, because we don't know what we're going through. And you can call each other, you can text each other, you can FaceTime each other or in person and pray for each other. Prayer is so important. And this is what I love about Wednesday nights. I love at the end how everyone goes into prayer time. You see the guys huddling over here and the girls huddling over here, and you're praying together. And not only does that bring us closer to God, it brings us closer to each other. So that's such a beautiful thing. But do that as friends. And finally, I'm going to end with this. A true friend never gets in your way unless you're going the wrong way, okay? That's important to understand, that a true friend, if you're going the wrong way, they're going to call you out. They're going to call you out of love because they care about you. They don't want to see you go down the wrong path. So a true friend will not get in your way unless you're going the wrong way. The second part here is a true friend is one who overlooks your failure, you overlook your setbacks, you overlook your weaknesses, you overlook your strengths, and they support your success. I'm going to tell you right now, a red flag in a friend is someone who gets jealous, envy, or angry because you're doing better than them. I'm not saying not to be their friend, but what I'm suggesting is that shouldn't be a person that you go to for trust, that you go for advice, okay? And finally, a true friend is always pointing you to be with Jesus. They're always pointing you and guiding you to Jesus. That's so important. And when a friend is like this, that kind of friend is going to be there with you during your ups and downs, man. I know when I lost my parents at a young age, I had some really good friends that were there to help me. And what I mean by young age, I lost my parents when I wasn't in high school. I was an adult. That's still young to lose both of your parents. But to have those people in your corner, man, that are there for you during the good times and the bad times, it's so beautiful. But we're always pointing each other to Jesus, and that's what we should be doing, is pointing each other to Jesus. And when we're pointing each other to Jesus, all these other things talked about, skills, capabilities, talents, it's all gonna come together. Hopefully something that encourages you. Hope that you reach out to your friends today and encourage one another to become better. If you have friends that are just going down the wrong way, man, if you truly love them, talk to them about it, because that's so important, because we're all going down the same path. We all have a vision. That vision is to have a finish line faith. Be faithful to God even till the end. All right, you guys have a great week, and we'll see you guys on Wednesday. All right.